This is, at least to me, a very blatant example of electoral interference coming from the States into Canada, which again is itself a sovereign nation. So I think that is something that a lot more people should be paying attention to and should be raising a lot of alarms.
Is Canada literally breaking apart? The province of Alberta has recently announced a referendum on independence, and US officials have reportedly met several times with separatist leaders.
So we asked a researcher in political science at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver how Canadians feel about US interference.
I think it's hard to ignore a lot of the sort of white supremacist undertones of the movement. Some of the people that are involved have been saying some really sort of far-right radical sentiment and expressing that sort of thing very publicly.
Last month, Alberta agreed to hold a non-binding referendum, even if only about a third of residents support independence. But some have recently criticized the federal government for imposing environmental regulations on the oil industry.
Well, I think that these regulations are definitely necessary to combat climate change in a very general sense. But Alberta also isn't unique in that regard. There are also a lot of other resource-rich areas of the country that are impacted by these sorts of things. You just do not see the same sort of response and rhetoric coming out of those places.
According to the Financial Times, Alberta separatists have met at least 3 times with officials from the US State Department. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney has called the referendum dangerous, compared it to Brexit, and he has urged US officials to respect Canadian sovereignty.
Some of their concerns are understandable. I think that a lot of people feel, whether justifiably or not, that they aren't being listened to by the federal government. But at the same time, I think that the referendum itself has a lot of ramifications, particularly for Indigenous rights and for treaty rights. Cannot legally separate from Canada without due consultation with Indigenous groups.
Alberta is now the second Canadian province with a significant pro-independence movement. In 1995, the French-speaking province of Quebec rejected secession by a very narrow margin.
That referendum resulted in something called the Clarity Act, which is federal legislation that basically puts in a number of safeguards against a province choosing to separate without a series of very serious consultations with the federal government.
But for now, whether the Alberta referendum could lead to a broader political crisis in Canada remains to be seen.